Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
This ain't financial advice, just a little DD to help you think twice. We hold for each other, eyes on the prize. The new floor's 200,000 times 5. I joke, I kid, no, I don't know a damn thing. I'm as simple as Bubba trying to sell some damn shrimp. Can't spell IQ, can't even count to 10. And I eat crayons every day with my friends. I think about Kenny in his ivory tower, shaking in his lily boots as the apes overpower. Must suck to lose to monkeys, so dumb. But you made your bed and you got nowhere to run. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when he makes the prize fall. And he watching as we keep buying more. You forgot we on the float blind, 2 hours old. Lie, stop breaking the law, asshole.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
Stupid ass, throwing all my money at the streets like a quarterback. If you don't mean a thing, water up a duck's back. Apes not leaving nothing till we get the money stacks. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey holding till we're blue. Monkey magic coming through us monkeys on the moon. Double digit IQ, tendy loving bamboo. Right here we got more smoothies than a jumbo juice. Probably thought you coulda made us sell all the gooder. And hell, we maybe woulda, but we more zen than the Buddha. The floor, 6 figures ain't selling for less. You took on the ape nation and you're fucking with the best. We hold for each other, my sisters and my brothers, the fighters and the lovers. We don't need another fan because we huddle through hard times and struggle. Cause we just a couple of diamonds in the rough.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
Hey, happy Friday. What is going on, Abes? Good morning. Moon gang. Happy Friday, October 15th. I hope you're having a great one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good whatever you want it to be. I hope you're having an absolutely phenomenal one. We are here to close it out this week. We're halfway through the month and we're here to close it out in a very, very bullish, apish, flexing manner. Very, very excited today. Always loving Fridays, music Fridays, party Fridays, whatever you want to call it. But we are here for a good time. And as you can see from the title on this stream, gains are back on the menu. They are definitely back on the menu. Very, very excited. So before we get into like the breakdown of what you need to know going on today, AMC right now hanging out at 40. Remember, 40 is a key psychological level. We're looking for it to hold it. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it won't. I just know if we do. And we're then watching after that 41.85 for a nice technical breakout, which could lead to a gap fill, but I will dive back more into that in a second. GME, we are looking for the breakout of 188, 190. From there, it could set up a very nice test of 200. But like I said, I'm going to get more into that. But we do have some other big movers to dive into. Should be a very, very exciting day. So just to get everyone a little bit like prepared, a little bit of foundation on the day, here's what you need to know. Wall Street on track for winning week on strong earnings. Very much so. So a couple things I want to talk about here. First of all, remember when I've shown you the seasonal patterns, by the time you get to through the first third, the first half of October, the seasonal pattern is bullish. So seasonality right here definitely coming into play. That's a positive thing. But on top of it, many banks and insurance companies, health insurance company, have been reporting their earnings, and pretty much across the board, they're all beating. The most recent one to report was Goldman Sachs, and their earnings per share, they beat by like $4 per share, and their revenue, they beat by like $2 billion. So lots of big banks doing relatively well, and also those health insurance companies. So with a lot of big juggernauts like that reporting, obviously that's making people a little bit more excited. Bitcoin nears 60,000 on hopes of first Bitcoin futures ETF. This is actually very, very important, and it's pretty interesting. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that afterwards. Let's come back to it. Retail sales out before bell after this week's hot inflation data. Retail sales, excluding autos, are forecast to have risen by 0.5% compared with an August advance of 1.8%. Well, we actually did better, and it could relate to why the Russell 2000, the Qs, and the SPY all just popped at 8:30. A lot of these reports come out at 8:30 in the morning, and retail sales unexpectedly gain in September as consumers keep spending. Consumers spent as much faster pace than expected in September, defying expectation for a pullback, the Census Bureau reported Friday. Those numbers actually, now as I'm filming this, they probably are specifically out, but we beat. There are more people spending, so that's obviously a good thing. As you can see right here, live, FDA advisory panel to vote on J&J COVID booster shots. FDA panel to meet on J&J booster after recommending Moderna. So the Moderna thing happened yesterday. The FDA vaccine advisory committed to set to meet Friday, today, to consider a booster shot on J&J's one-dose COVID vaccine on data and mixing and matching shots. So I looked into a little bit about some of the results coming in about mixing and matching the different shots, and people are saying that it is actually improving the efficacy. The panel yesterday on Thursday unanimously recommended giving a booster of Moderna's 2-dose COVID vaccine to people 65 and older and other vulnerable adults. We know that this already happened pretty much last week with Pfizer, so it seems like Moderna and J&J are following suit. And just for those people who are specifically interested in space travel through Virgin Galactic, taking a hit this morning. The ticker symbol for Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic is SPCE, and it's delaying the launch of its commercial space tourism service until the fourth quarter of 2022. We're talking another year from this moment in time. Obviously, that's not being received well whenever like Virgin Galactic, that's kind of over the past couple of years been one of the issues, is they are these big milestones. They seem to continually have to push them out from their initial date. Obviously, the stock market's not really going to like that one. So that's your setup kind of on the overall market. Nothing too crazy. Maybe a little bit of development would be nice on if the president is or isn't going to sign the debt ceiling bill. That could help things out. But other than that, I mean, the Evergrande situation, Chinese officials have said that it is completely under control and like not really need to worry about it. Yes, they did default on some of their extra stuff, but it does seem like that entire Evergrande situation is playing out. In terms of the Federal Reserve, a lot of the things that came out in their minutes has been already consumed by the market, and it's just very much what people expected. We know mid-November they're going to start tapering, but it's all happening. The market, I think one of the best ways to think about it is what's known and what's unknown. Even if it's something that's bad, but it's fully known, that's better for the market. So as we're getting out of this territory of unknown things, what's going on with the debt ceiling, what's going on with the FOMC, what's going on with Evergrande, as we're truly getting to the bottom of it, of like the market, of everyone being on the same page of how things are going to play out, generally the market likes that. It doesn't like unmitigated risk. So with all that being said, let's talk about crypto. Crypto could be stealing some Bitcoin, crypto in general, could be stealing some spotlight right now. As you can see, it's going up to 60,000. Very exciting. And it's all in the hopes that U.S. regulators won't stand in the way of the first Bitcoin futures exchange traded ETF. The fund is set to begin trading Tuesday. So right after this weekend, basically in 4 days, the SEC can object to the filing until midnight on Monday. But I do have a bit more of a development on that specifically for you. Bitcoin obviously spiking. So Bloomberg reported that the SEC will not block the ETF. The SEC is reviewing around 40 different Bitcoin ETF filings with multiple decisions deadlines on futures-linked products hitting next week. According to Bloomberg, the regulator is expected to approve at least some of them, clearing the way for trading to begin. The SEC does not need to take any formal action to approve the filings under federal law. Applications can become effective, and the SEC allows a mandated deadline to pass without requesting changes or directing the aspiring issue to pull the filing. So right there, the D-Day, the clock, it's Monday at midnight. Other than that, it looks like we are full steam ahead with some Bitcoin cryptocurrency based ETFs starting next week. Yes, that is a very, very big deal for crypto. That just shows U.S. regulators, the SEC, I'm sure the FINRA is going to be involved, just our political leaders here in the U.S. With that ETF, that's one of the biggest things. And I know that there's been some naysayers about crypto. The JP Morgan CEO, Yellen herself, the entire political party of China is against it. But with them allowing it, that's flagging that regulators, we're getting closer and closer to mass acceptance in the U.S. front, which is a huge deal. And that's exactly why we see Bitcoin absolutely ripping right now. I have this resistance at 59,500. We pretty much got smacked there right at, we're talking about 60K. Its high, look at this. Its high was perfectly $60,000. If Bitcoin can break out above that, that's so incredibly good for the entire crypto sector. This rally from 40 to 60, that's a 50% gain ever since September 29th. 2 weeks. If you were invested in Bitcoin for the past 2 weeks, just October of whatever's going on over the past month, you would have had a 50% gain, that's just so incredible. And really, we're seeing some other cryptos really react pretty well to the news. So we have Ethereum bouncing off of 3,400 up to 3,800. Ethereum looking good, but one that's doing abnormally well right now is Polygon, the Matic network. Look at this explosion from $1.15 up to $1.52. Just so you know, all the ones you see on the screen, I am long in. I'm invested in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Matic, and Bbig. But what's going on with Polygon, and also you could see it right here, it's actually trending. It was trending. Hang on, show more. Matic right here, hashtag Matic was trending. Shoot, that just disappeared. But hashtag Matic is trending, and it's honestly because of how much it's running right now. But if you haven't heard of Matic, if you haven't heard of the Matic network, if you haven't heard of Polygon, what you need to know about it is it's all about scaling Ethereum. So if you like Ethereum right now, as we're all patiently waiting for Ethereum 2.0, it does have, it's expensive. The gas fees, I believe it's pronounced Gwei, it's expensive. It's expensive to do any transactions on the Ethereum network. And it's also the scalability of it. This is where Polygon comes in because it can make it cheaper and it can help it scale faster. I'm talking Ethereum has the ability to do about 15 transactions. And with that same unit, Polygon, a layer scaling built on top of Ethereum, can scale it up to tens of thousands. So it makes it more efficient and it's far, far cheaper. So that's just like your quick rundown on it. With it, I just want you to know the very, very cheap, helps improve the efficiency, helps brings down the cost. And if you really look into Matic, the Matic network, you're going to also need to know a little bit about Dagger. And with it, basically any blocks, transactions, events, that's where Dagger comes in. Once again, Dagger is built on top of the Matic network. And just think about this. One way you could use it is if there's some giant whale buying a bunch of crypto or a stock, you can use that to trigger an event and then you get an email. So that's like one technology that's built on it. But that's not necessarily while it's moving right now. This news is actually kind of interesting. Matic right now, the transactions are plunging, and it does get interesting of why. But basically, the creator of it, the founding team, they are upping the cost, and they're trying to get rid of the scam because it's so cheap and it's so efficient. There's right here, the Matic network has increased the transaction fees 30x from a default value of 1 Gwei to a minimum of 30. So the costs are going up, and the co-founder is saying the necessary to deter spam transactions on the network. So with that going up, you see a huge drop off because it's getting rid of spam. But also people are like, well, hang on, why? We don't want to pay more money. That's not the best idea. But the other thing it has going for it is it was just released in the South Korean cryptocurrency platform Upbit. So now that it's there, we have a lot more people that have access to it, and that is probably part of the reason why Matic is running so much. So specifically, just a little rundown on Polygon. When you think of Polygon, when you hear Matic, just think, hey, while we're waiting for Ethereum 2.0, right now it just helps Ethereum scale. It's cheaper, it's more efficient. That's where, like, on the highest level, Polygon really fits in. But other than that, crypto's looking strong right now, specifically because of Bitcoin, and it sounds like we have movement in the world of the SEC of letting them finally go through with a Bitcoin-based ETF. And I know he's not our favorite, but I believe some of the most recent commentary from Jim Cramer is that if that goes through, he would sell half of his holdings and get into a Bitcoin-based ETF. And I'm talking about our boy Jim Cramer. So that's what's going on in the world of crypto. Very quickly, since we're talking about some of the positive news related to the retail spending, let me get rid of that. We're obviously seeing another gap up. Kind of interesting. 2 days in a row. Just so you know, yesterday, October 14th, was one of the best gains the S&P 500 has seen in quite a while. But anyway, looks like we have another gap up this morning. I'm looking for the breakout of 445. That is a key level of resistance. If we are fortunate enough to break and hold that, I am then closely paying attention to 447. These are the levels I'll be watching in the SPY. Of course, if there is some weakness, I'll look for support to be found at 442, or maybe just the gap fill from the high yesterday at 446. Below that, I will be watching 438.60, which is the low from yesterday. And if things for some reason turn in the short term bearish, then I'm watching the gap fill at 436. Remember, when it comes to these overall indices, gap fills are very, very, very prevalent. So whenever I see some weakness in the S&P 500, it's going to get me interested about this gap fill from the high on October 13th. In terms of the Qs, a smaller gap up, but a gap up nonetheless. Looking for the breakout of 368. From there, paying attention to 370. Still be mindful of the gap below it. In terms of the Russell 2000, a very nice gap up. In fact, we are gapping up above the high of September 27th. If we can hold this gap, it is putting 229, 230 into play, which is the high from September 2nd. And from there, we're talking about the 230s. This is extraordinarily good for AMC, just because remember, AMC is the biggest stock within the Russell 2000. So they don't have to move in lockstep, but there's a very good chance that their movement is going to be somewhat related. So this is very, very good. When you're talking about small cap, IWM, the Russell 2000, there's going to be an overall also additional influence when we're talking about AMC. Very, very happy to see that. Speaking of AMC, before we do that technical breakdown, let's talk about the numbers from Ortex. They've already borrowed 557,000 shares against AMC today. That puts the estimated short interest at 17.7%. The utilization is 87%, and the shares on loan is now probably 114 million. And just so you know, the average age of these shares on loan, very, very high, 77. In terms of the technicals, so we had that nice technical breakout and we closed above 40, which was a huge win for the AMC apes. Let me throw up the MACD just so I could also show you this. We also got the MACD crossover. This stock does like to trend. So the question here is, ever since September 29th, the bulls have been building momentum and we're now officially in a bullish trend according to this technical indicator. The golden question is, how long will this trend be sustained? I hope obviously it's forever and ever. That would be awesome. But in terms of the short term, we're looking for 40 to hold and we're looking for the breakout of 41.85. That would be a very noteworthy technical breakout because I think there would be a vacuum gap seal all the way up to 44.20. Fingers crossed in the short term. Obviously 40 will be support and now the high 38s will also act as support. In terms of GME, it's been rejected multiple times between 188, 190. Clearly there's a lot of supply going on at that level. We need that breakout. The closest support I would argue is 175, at least on the daily chart. So those are the levels I'm watching. Upon this breakout of 190, I'll be watching 196, but I really care about that psychological level at 200. In terms of the numbers on Ortex, they've already borrowed 18,000 against GME today. The short interest is up to 12.3%. The utilization is 36%. The shares on loan, 8.8 million. And the duration of these shares on loan in terms of the average is around 44 days. So that is where we are at. Let me just get back to this. Market still looking pretty nice. IWM looking green. The SPY looking green. We know the Qs are looking green. It kind of feels like yesterday where there's just a bunch of green in the market. Obviously, we have to wait. My bias going into market open is obviously a bullish one, but we have to just wait and see how this all truly does or doesn't play out. I want to see for that market acceptance right at market open, but I'm excited for this Friday. Like I titled this, I think gains are back on the menu. I would love a repeat of yesterday, just another great buying green, bullish risk on type of day. And honestly, with some of these announcements that we are seeing from more of like a macroeconomic perspective, things are looking nice in my opinion. So I think that's my bias heading into it, but let's wait for that confirmation at market open. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Isn't it Griffin's birthday? Isn't it our Kenny Boy's birthday? I wonder if he's gonna call me today. I don't know. Maybe he's busy with his birthday activities. Maybe he isn't. I don't know. But it would be fun if he could call and we could all wish him a happy birthday. Goof morning, Duck Lord. Make it a great day. Shout out J Mar. Let's get this bread. Shout out Cootery. Bro, I know you're upset, but I did tell you to cover also happy birthday. Enjoy it. Next one will be in jail. What is going on? What is going on? Let me get to some of your questions. Let me give you back these last 10 minutes before the market goes ding, ding, ding. What's your opinion on BBIG price target? Whose price target? I don't know whose price target you're referring to. BBIG had a great day yesterday. Upon this breakout of 730, 770, it closed at 830 and it's right now still above 8. I'm watching 950 next. That's my next level on BBIG, but it's looking strong. Crypto keep ripping, 1 minute cup and handle. Crypto is just, it's looking so strong. Oh, in terms of the SHIB, if anyone listening right now is a part of the SHIB army, you are looking for 24 to hold, clear support. You also do have additional support right about at 20. So you're looking for the support to hold at 24. If it doesn't, pay attention to 20. But upon this bounce, you're watching this trend line and then the breakout of 30. We had this fake out breakout on October 11th. Couldn't hold it. 30 is the major, I would argue, line in the sand for like the bullish momentum to continue. Look at this. Bitcoin's about to hit 60,000 again. That is awesome. I want to set up an alert. Add alert. 60,000. It's gonna do it. It's gonna do it. Gonna do it only once. All right. I think these might be extraordinarily loud. So if it does hit, I'm sorry if it blows out all of our eardrums. I'll try to lower this. What was that? That was weird. But anyway, Bitcoin, I mean, and it's just all related to this ETF thing, which is, it is obviously very exciting news. But let's get rocking. Let's get rocking. Let's get rocking. All right. IWM so strong. All right. Let me drop to the 1 minute and then I'll get back to your questions as we're getting pumped for the market today. We're going to see them tendies. Shout out Rick. Shout out Hugh G. Becoming an astronaut. I appreciate that. Very interested in this ETF, but think holding the actual coin BTC ETH is better. Pros and cons. Play the ape hit. Have a great day, brother. Big shop. I'm actually right there with you. Very much right there with you. I mean, to me, it's so easy to get a hold of crypto directly. So why would I just not? The ETF, I mean, maybe people don't have those, I guess, crypto exchanges or brokerages set up. Maybe it just is easier. Or maybe if people want to play calls or puts on crypto, that could potentially be an advantage. But I myself, I'm directly in crypto. And if you want to be in crypto, the Coinbase is pinned to the top of chat. Also, there's the link to Voyager. There's a link to Gemini. Coinbase, Gemini, and Voyager are all ones I have money on. I like all three. I use them for different things, but Coinbase, that's a very reputable exchange. That's the one that's trading under COIN. It's the biggest crypto exchange, definitely in the US. So if you want that, it is pinned to the top of chat. I myself, I mean, I've been trying to point out the technicals of how good crypto's been looking lately. I find the Matic move, honestly, very, very surprising. But now we're getting a nice, potentially cup and handle setup. This thing is just ripping. There's money to be made in various aspects of the market. And while we're waiting for the MOAS, I see no harm in making money in other things because that means you could load up more on some of the initial investments that you like. What's your take on BBIG squeeze setup? Nice, and there's a nasty gamma ramp on the chain. So I know that the chain is built out for sure, which is interesting, but it's still, in my opinion, you need to clear that 915. Like I just always play it from level to level. So, sorry, not 915. I believe that's for ATER. For BBIG, 950, and then I'm watching 11. I'm just simple. Like I do things very, very simply. I play it from level to level to level. I'm not here. I do not think it's a good methodology to simply go around hunting for all these short squeezes. I don't. I really, really don't. I think the commonality of them is very much overstated. To me, maybe I see a nice swing. Maybe you get lucky and you get a part of an overall squeeze. But I think people very much like to overstate how often squeezes actually happen. ATER, that's the one that I wanted to clear 915. ANY is going to be doing well just because crypto, remember, ANY, that is one that has a high short interest. It's a Bitcoin mining company. So with Bitcoin ripping, that does strengthen the argument for ANY, currently trading at 830. Look for that breakout apparently of 890. And from there, you might be talking about 12. PROG. Right here has quite a few issues, 230, 240, that 20-cent range below 250. So that's what you should be watching on PROG. Look for that breakout of the high 240s, and from there, a breakout of 270. But right now, obviously, a clear level of supply right below 250. So if you're a PROG fan, that's exactly what you want it to break above. ANY, ATER, BBIG, PROG, just so you know, I do not personally have a position on any of those. I have a position on obviously AMC, GME. I am long on the overall market. I am long on a bunch of different cryptos, just to be transparent of where I am at. I don't know much about it, but what do you think about the DRS, the share, so institutions do resell it? A lot of people commenting on Reddit. So I don't know about the most recent round of comments on Reddit. The only thing I could say about it is there are pros and cons to it. Here are the pros. When you're talking about computer share and direct registration, I do see the benefit of you being the clear owner. Right now, if you're buying through a brokerage, the brokerage is actually the owner and you have a very fancy schmancy legal IOU from the brokerage. When you do a direct registration, you become the actual owner. I like that. And when people are registering more and more, it does seem to cut down on FTDs, failure to deliver. That's a good thing. And also, if you do a DRS, they're not going to lend it out. So if you don't want your shares shorted, that's kind of one way to guarantee it. So those are all very interesting pros. A con is that it is very slow. relative to brokerages. You have to go through a transfer agent. If you're used to whatever brokerage you have, if you have ever sold a stock and you're like, cool, I just got that fill like borderline instantaneously, that really doesn't exist on the DRS system right here. This is the main con that I see against DRS. The biggest disadvantage of using DRS is that you can't sell your stock right away. You have to submit instructions to your transfer agent, who then pools your sell orders with those of other sellers. Then they execute the trade on a preset schedule. This would prevent you from selling shares in the midst of a panic if there were to, and then like this is talking more of like a higher level. But to AMC and GME, I would almost flip it. Of if you're doing the DRS and like you want to like perfectly time your exit in the MOAS on DRS, that would make you pretty immobile relative to brokerages. So like I said, DRS, it has a list of pros, it has a list of cons. I myself have not put any shares on DRS because I put value. I think there's an extra premium for me. I want to be as mobile as I possibly can. With it, the other thing that I see, to my understanding, and maybe I'm speaking on something, like you said, it sounds like there's extra comments that maybe I'm not most up to date on. I see what they're going for. People are saying that if you can get enough people to register it, if we end up registering more than the free float plus the share short, that's problematic, and it tells us that something is sketchy is going on in the back end. With it, first, that's two hurdles you need to surmount. You need to get enough people to actually register their shares. And on top of that, even if they register it, we don't have that data. The company, like as in GameStop and or AMC, would then have to release that data publicly. And I don't know if they will. I don't see why they wouldn't, but you would be reliant on enough people registering their shares. And from there, then the company would have to choose to, release that information publicly. So there are some hurdles. To my understanding, the DRS system is much more utilized by people who are long-term investors, such as like Warren Buffett, not necessarily for active, definitely not day trades, and not even the most short-term swing trades. So with it, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not telling you to not do it. I'm just telling you to look into it. There are pros, there are cons. Ding, ding, ding. The casino is open. Best of luck to all. Let's get rocking today. Looking for AMC to hold on 40. Where are we at with IWM? We're rocking. We're rocking. We're rocking. I like it. All right. Come on, come on, come on. Nice. AMC. Just very quickly, I want to see yesterday's high. Yesterday's high was 41.10, just so we all know. That's probably in terms of a smaller time frame, like clearly the big breakout's at 41.85, but 41.10, we could pay attention to that out of the gate. All right. The SPY for 40. GME, thus far, low volume. GME needs more volume, definitely needs more volume. All right, hang on. AMC battling it out, hopefully just reaffirming 40 as a key level of support. Right now, 39.80 just snapped below 40, but let's see if it's just kind of like a quick fake out thing, bases and like bounces right off of it. For all I know, could be a good dip buy and opportunity. Time will tell. Hindsight, obviously 2020. Hindsight, obviously 2020. Here, let me get this time for you. Let me make sure the time is properly set up everywhere. Let's go back to AMC. There we go. So we have this gap, came down, based, range bound all the way up until yesterday. We got out of this range. Let's see if the range breakout is officially going to hold. It's nice to see this is the second day of a green MACD. Obviously, we're nowhere close to market close, but that is definitely what we are looking for. It's just a continuation of the build in momentum. Momentum is the name of the game. Short Gorilla becoming an astronaut. I appreciate that. What are your thoughts on SLI? Let me write that down. Chase SLI. SLI. What is the meaning of life? We all need to know. What's that movie say? I think it's the meaning of life is 42, right? Salute, Matt. Our Ethereum is cooking. Let's go AMC. Counselor Murray. Just so you know, man, I've been staking a ton for Ethereum 2.0. Very excited about it. Very, very excited about it. Have you seen NU Crypto doing mad stuff at the moment? I haven't, but I could definitely take a looky-see at it over the weekend. BBIG, $40 price target. Seeking Alpha released yesterday. Yeah, so I saw a little bit about it, and we saw that previous one on Seeking Alpha where they had the pump piece on ANY when they were basically just saying, hey, like, we think that Elon Musk should join the board because of this, and it went up and came back down. This write-up on BBIG does seem to be, I guess, a bit more legitimate is the best way for me to put it. So I kind of like that. I really do. But with it, I mean, 40, I guess it, like, obviously anything could happen. It could go there. I'm not going to be like, oh, 40 is absurd. It's never, ever going to see it. But I mean, I'm so much more of, let's just play it out in the meantime. Let's see how things are going. Let me watch those levels, 950, 11, 12. There's levels to watch. Like, I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse. VIH merged with BAKKT on Monday. Nice SPAC play. SPAC plays have been weaker and weaker recently. In 2020 was the year of SPAC plays for sure. But this year, 2021, not so much. It's like not by any means the same amount of enthusiasm behind SPACs. ANY has over 50% short interest. I don't think that's accurate. ANY, I think PROG does. Let me check this out. ANY. Let me bring it up. NASDAQ. ANY. Yeah, that's the one where the shares on loan is about 13 million. So the short interest is most likely, as a rough estimate, closer to 20%. And you could check that out on Ortex. Just look at the shares on loan and then just do some like, okay, if there's 12, assume that maybe 10 million are actually short, and then just kind of build off of that when you look at the free float. 50% seems a little bit high. All right, I see some people talking about BBIG. Is that moving? BBIG actually down 3.8%. Let me know if BBIG, where is it? BBIG. I mean, I very much like that it got above 770. You're kind of just watching that 850 level to see if it can continue on the momentum from yesterday. I do admit the past 4 days, obviously very strong. ANY is coiling up for a move. I would argue that the daily chart on ANY is a very strong one. Things could get interesting on the breakout of $8.90, $9, but it's just coiling. Like, this to me seems pretty freaking bullish, especially if we get that follow through on the Bitcoin ETF. I think there's a strong case for any, but once again, I have no position on it. PROG, you're waiting, see if it can get above 230, 240, 250. A nice move above 240, 250. It would be strong for PROG. All right, AMC trying to base just below 40 right here. See if it can really take this out. It's fighting though. You can tell that it's finding demand. It's also apparently finding some supply, but it's trying to make a nice turnaround. So what you could do here on the 1 minute is just pay attention to the MACD and look for that curl. Let me throw that up. Look for the curl to go green, and hopefully we take out 40. It's monthly expiration. They're going to try to pin all of our favorite stocks with a chain. I don't know what that necessarily means with a chain, but we know when it comes to monthly expiration, you can look at a lot of the different where the premium is sold, and obviously market makers, they're not going to want to pay it if they haven't hedged it properly. So it's not the most abnormal thing to see it close right below a key dollar value. All right. AMC currently 39.88. We have traded 2.58 million. It's okay. I thought there was actually going to be more volume today. GME low volume, 78,000 shares. Man, that's very, very low volume on GME. Hopefully that excitement picks up. We want the volatility to return on that for sure. All right, IWM. I want to see this bend back around. The SPY, let me bring back up the SPY. I bet this is bending right here. Nope, incorrectly put it in. Okay, the SPY is bending back around. The Russell bending back around. Let's get rocking. Let's get rocking, folks. I just want to see this get going. We're seeing some buyers stepping into the market. Hopefully we get this turnaround. Look at this base being found at 39.80. Support, 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 support. Let's see if support can be found there once again. As money continues to flow into the overall market, that makes the case for AMC bending here a bit stronger, especially the Russell 2000. You're very much going to want the Russell 2000 to get above 228.15-ish. If you see a pop here, that's going to make a much stronger argument for AMC. Opinion on BBIG. Yeah, so pretty much what I was just saying about it. I have no position on it. It had a nice run over the past 4 days. Today's an inside day. There's no trend. There's no direction. I would want to see this break of 850 and then specifically 950. So 850, 950. Right now, though, no direction. It's an inside day. I guess the best way to put that is kind of like an indecisive no trend day as of now. We have not exceeded the high or the low from yesterday. We're just kind of waiting. Where can you register the shares? You could register them on computer share, but once again, make sure you're actually looking into what that means. I myself have not registered any shares. AMC, all right, here we go. IWM, it's trying to come back around 228.12, 228.15. Watch for the pump here. And then hopefully AMC, or maybe AMC goes first and it brings the entire Russell with it. I would also obviously be fine with that. Oh, thank you, RuneScape Killer. If you haven't already, I would appreciate if you guys could all annihilate that like button. And if you haven't already, don't forget to join up with the Moon Gang by hitting the subscribe button. Liking, subscribing, all that is completely free. It helps just grow the ape army and gets our what we're fighting for, market transparency, market fairness, gets our argument out to more and more people. I very much believe the success of this, I guess, movement is dependent on the size of the community. So as we grow it bigger and bigger, I very much appreciate it. It just helps out with the YouTube algorithm. People are talking about PROG 220. Let me know when PROG is above 240, 250. That's exciting. Bitcoin just below 60,000, 59,800. Ethereum 3,800 on its way to 4,000 flat. Cardano, I wish this was pushing 250 right now. I'm a little bit surprised it's at 216. Hex would prefer that's at 50 cents. It's currently at 36. Sheeb thus far bouncing off of 24 back to 25. Solana is also having a good movement. Can you opinion on GOTU? Yeah, Jacob, sure. GOTU. Let me write that down. GOTU, got it. All right. Actually, AMC and the Russell moving two completely different ways right now. AMC making that nice move to 40.40. We're watching 41.10, and that was just the high from yesterday. I believe it's 41.10. Clearly getting some buyers right now. I very much like that. Very, very much like that. GME. 184.30. That's pushing. Man, AMC going. All right, we're kind of waiting on bitty Bitcoin right there. a little bit flat. We had this nice pump all the way up to 59,800, flat right now. Would love for this to cross 60,000. Ethereum, similar. Looking for this to go all the way up to 4,000. How's Matic still looking? Matic still looking pretty strong. Look for it to get a bit of $1.55 on Matic. Solana, also, man, just a lot of opportunity, a crazy amount of opportunity right now. Interesting. So we're seeing that the SPY just kind of indecisive. IWM, honestly, a little bit of a downtrend. We're just seeing lower highs throughout the day. It gets exciting if it comes back above 228, but AMC does not seem to care. We've traded 4.7 million shares, and it is at 4070. Looks like it wants to push yesterday's high of 4110. GME, 103,000 shares traded. It needs more volume. It needs more excitement. But its price is nice. I mean, both AMC and GME are in the green, so hey, I will definitely take that. I know AMC and GME are black swans in terms of squeeze, but for VBI, what is the range of the squeeze? Won't be as big as AMC. I don't know how you came up with that, but when it comes to, you can never put a price range on a squeeze. A squeeze is naturally one of the most like volatile, high volume, like FOMO, shorts covering, gamma squeeze events. You cannot put a price target on any squeeze. That's just not mathematically how it's done. I know some people are trying to put out like a floor on AMC, on GME, on BBIG. If you're talking about a squeeze play, you cannot have a specific price target. It's just not mechanically how a squeeze works in the back end, because there's no way to estimate. You can estimate some of the shorts covering, but you can't really estimate the gamma squeeze because the chain is always the option chain is always dynamic throughout the day, and you can't estimate the impact of FOMO buyers. So if you're asking ever for a squeeze price prediction, it's just mathematically impossible to pull off. So that's why I don't get, when you see some other people, they're like, oh, this is my floor. If you have a floor just because you want that to be the floor, and like you're just like hoping for that because you can pay off your house, your student debt, and buy yourself a yacht, like, hey, I'm right there with you. But there's not really mathematical bearing to it. And I've seen some YouTubers try to like stumble their way through a video of like, it could go to this, it could go to this. Please understand that the math is very, very poor, and it's just not accurate. So I'm right there with you. Like when people are throwing out their floor values, you pick a floor value. Do I want it to get there? Yeah. But also just understand that there's not any like reasonable math that explains that. It's just inherently you're trying to predict things, these numbers. What's the current short interest? How bloated is the option chain? And the FOMO buyers, even that one, the last one, FOMO buyers, how do you possibly predict the FOMO buyers when you don't know how many FOMO buyers there's going to be? It's all about what's the demand. Let's give Ken a nice big green candle for his birthday cake. Appreciate all you do for the apes, AMC to the moon. Hey, shout out. I appreciate that. I mean, a lot of these things to the moon. I want everything to go. I want your P&L to go to the moon. That's like my goal. I want everyone's P&L. I want everyone's account to go to the moon. And on top of that, I think we very legitimately can campaign like on the political front for true positive market change. Maybe I'm too young. Maybe I'm a bit too naive. Maybe it's like a system that is not going to change. I don't know. Let me live in my naive world because I think we're big enough. I think we have enough influence that we can truly make changes. I think it's highly, highly important that we are well organized, because you never know when some political leader is going to actually be listening. And who knows, maybe they're going to pander for our votes by running on something that we want to happen. I mean, let's just look at the numbers from AMC in June alone. That was 4 million people. That's a serious voting block. That's a very serious voting block. And when it comes to that, I think we need to be more organized in the sense of knowing exactly what we're arguing for. And we really need to cut it out with the like asinine, childish things. If think about the scenario when what if a political leader was listening to us and they're like, oh, okay. And the first thing they're going to say is like, well, how serious is their argument? If the first thing they hear is some crazy incorrect theory about convertible bonds, some crazy incorrect theory about short ladder attacks, some crazy incorrect theory about odd lots, it's just, they're going to look at us and be like, oh, these people are clowns, and they're not going to listen. We need to come to them with very legitimate, verifiable things, something that they can actually argue and get, I don't know, like go through the typical like legitimate political process. So for example, you know, it's something that we could argue and we actually have the stats for is getting trades, a higher amount of trades to be done on a lit exchange. And that is, well, a symptom of that is payment for order flow. So right there, we can say that's a measurable thing. We want no more payment for order flow. Then they ask why. We have to be able to explain what payment for order flow is, but they could obviously Google that. And then from there, well, why? Well, we know the argument that it's widening the spread, which costs pension funds, retirement accounts, billions and billions of dollars, ETFs, billions of dollars. There's studies done on it. We can then argue a little bit more high level that right now we're just in the duopoly of Citadel Securities and Virtu being market makers, and they have too much unfettered power, and we don't know necessarily how they're wielding that power. That's something that's measurable. Get rid of payment for order flow, and then we have the reasoning of why. Beyond that, the 13F filings, why are they not reporting shorts? They're reporting longs, calls, and puts, but not shorts. That blows my mind. And then like maybe just to boot, we could argue that instead of quarterly, we want it to be monthly or something like that. That's a very strong argument. We can argue to get rid of pattern day trading. Pattern day trading, why if you have less than $25,000 in the US brokerages, why are you treated any differently? That doesn't make sense. We're told it's a free market. Everyone should be able to participate in the free market the same as everyone else. My point in all of this is I see, in my opinion, too many people who are just not taking this seriously enough, or I shouldn't use the word seriously. I think there's too many people who are looking at the current landscape, the current political landscape incorrectly. We cannot come at these people. If we want change, it's one thing if you're going to just sit on social media and like yell manipulation, I hate billionaires. Okay, cool. Like good luck. I hope that makes you feel better, but that's not ever anything that's going to get change. If you want change, you have to be serious and you have to know what the fuck you're talking about. And there's too many people who are willing to bandwagon random things. And that we need to be way more organized in the sense of the apes need to know what the apes are fighting for beyond just yelling manipulation. That doesn't make sense. That's not how we're going to get change. So, I mean, those were a list of 3 things. I could go on more and more, but like when you have people with very, very weak theories, like I said, this odd lot theory, the convertible bond theory, they're just super weak. Honestly, some of the people that have size, like considerable size in this community, still don't know what dark pools are. And then they're talking about dark pools, and it in a certain sense, it's embarrassing to the community because I know there's people that are listening who have expertise and could pull on their connections with political leaders. But why would they do that if we don't even know what a dark pool is or how it works? So I don't know. We just need to bring it up to the next level, more organized, more reasonable, and more articulate in our very specific demands. Why is everyone saying AMC options is hurting the stock price? I'm so confused. Just another Reddit tinfoil hat theory. AMC options, they can hurt or help. They could go either way. The best way to think of this, and this was an analogy that someone sent me quite a while ago, and I really, really like it. So the analogy I always went with if the MOAS is a gigantic fire, buying stock is the match, and buying call options, out of the money call options, is the gasoline. If you just have gasoline, you're not going to get a fire. And of course, you can have a gigantic fire with just matches, but obviously gasoline makes it way, way easier. So that's the interesting scenario, the very interesting scenario of there's a time and place for it. To just say that options are hurting AMC, once again, that's just people who I don't. You have a lot of people commentating on this entire stock market mechanism who they haven't even been trading for like a year yet. Like, I just don't get it. Options, can they hurt it? Yes. Can they also help it? Yes. Another analogy would be something like this. So let's say the stock price, it's a game of tug of war. It goes up if the bulls are winning, and it goes down if the bears are winning. Tug of war, tug of war, tug of war. Well, if you buy stock, you're just adding more people onto your side of the rope. You're pulling, you're pulling, you're pulling. Well, options would be the scenario where it's a higher risk, higher reward bet, not only in terms of your P&L, but in also of helping out the cause. So let me explain. Let's say in this analogy, if you buy stock, there's more people added to your side of the rope. Well, another thing here would be, let's say you have these like jacked up apes who have been on steroids ever since they were in preschool. That's an option. But the issue is they can only help you if you get to a certain distance. So it's a high, ooh, look at that. Hey, Bitcoin 60,000, folks. Bitcoin 60,000. Right as AMC is ripping, right as the Russell's coming back, right as the SPY's looking good. Look at that. Bitcoin dingity ding 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 60K. Anyway, back to my analogy. So options would be the world of where you have these special apes who have been jacked up and on steroids ever since they were in preschool. The issue is if you want to use them, you spend money on them, as in you buy it, but they only help you. They only join the game of tug of war if you pull the rope to a certain distance. If you don't get the rope to that distance, then that was a waste of your efforts. But if you do, it helps you out more. So in terms of your own P&L and also helping out the cause, it's a higher risk to reward bet. So with it, it can be hurtful in terms of people wasting money on premium. But on the other hand, if you do it in the right environment, when volatility is picking up, you pick the right expiration date, you pick the right strike, out of the money calls, it can help. So it's a sword that cuts both ways. All right, hang on. Ian, becoming a space ape. Hey, I appreciate you joining up. I've noticed that the level 2 on Webull is not that accurate when I see big buys or sells that come through that were never listed, because Webull is only showing you the New York Stock Exchange. It's not all level 2s. So it's accurate, but to the New York Stock Exchange. SPC, good dip buy, got some at 2050 after the overnight action. So SPC is down because they delayed basically their tourism flights by a full year. It depends on your time frame. Like if you just believe in the long-term potential of Virgin Galactic, we'll have at it. Good day, sir. Could you have a look at Keep Network? Keep Network. All right. I see a lot of people talking about BBIG. Let me throw that up. BBIG is looking good. Remember, 850 was the high from yesterday. That's nice. And from there, watching 950. It's definitely looking good. Hey, Mark, wanted to wish you and Kenny G happy birthday. Can you take a look at 23andMe? Hang on. 23andMe. I think that was a recent IPO, wasn't it? Good morning, legend. Send Ken a duck for his birthday. So something we love him. Tesla thoughts. Tesla, 827. I mean, I was saying above 820, good. I mean, Tesla's looking strong. I think it can go up to 840, 850, no problem in the short term. Very much a fan of Tesla. SPC getting obliterated, played down to 14, or a reversion 1 year out, or both. Pirates. I mean, if you're doing a longer term reversion, you just have to definitely like where the company is headed. Right now, it's down for good reason. Like it was a fundamental change in the company. So it being down does not really surprise me. Thank you, Screw Party Lines. It allows the politicians to make them their own wallets fatter. Vote for candidates that support the apes. Yeah, so I'm never, ever going to be necessarily a fan of I guess, a lawsuit that could potentially halt the trading of the stock. But what I want, and this is what Mark Kohrs and I talked about, that interview, it is a great interview. It's coming out tomorrow. I will be posting it on the main channel. You guys, it's about an hour-long talk of kind of a little bit of his history, his opinion on what's going on, and his opinion on some of the ways that we can fight back. I didn't know that some people seem to be, I don't know, their panties are in a wad about his discussions on DRS, we didn't talk about that at all, just so everyone knows. We talked about the best ways really of like the apes to be heard. And in terms of like a lawsuit or something that could halt the stock, maybe not the biggest fan of that. Definitely not the biggest fan of that. What I am a fan of though is we've been doing this for 10 months. We need to get more in contact with people that can actually change the rules. You know, the people who can change the rules are politicians. We need our politicians to be on board and to understand what we are arguing for. And that's a tough battle because we know a lot of politicians are in the pocket of Wall Street. It is a 5D chess game, but in my humble opinion, I think that's the next way we need to go. If we just continually complain on social media, what's our end goal? If we want actual legitimate change with politicians, well, we need to talk to politicians then. Like, that's just like 1 + 1 = 2 people. Ty becoming a space ape. Hey, apes, show up at your town halls, pressure your congressman. Mine folded because of the tutorial Matt put out on PFOF. Show up, know your stuff. Shout out Miles Away. Hey, Matt, check out CEI. CEI. Got it. Shout out C. LaFoy Grant. I love that name. Can you take a look? Oh, and you up 400%. I mean, if it's up that much, I'm not going to chase it. Like when I see something that has a gigantic gain right away, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to buy that. Then I missed the party. Can you explain how the transfer to public works? I have 100 AMC going from Webull. They already have taken the fee. Any chance missing out on anything? No, I'm actually in the middle of that transfer myself. Exactly that transfer that you're talking about from Webull to public. Let me see if mine actually finally went through. It says it can take up to 10 business days. I'm not at 10 business days yet. I think I'm at 7, but let me see if mine has gone through. But once you set up the transfer, it's just transferring the brokerage who has like the ownership for you of those shares. All right, how do I see mine? No, my transfer is still not complete. So I'm just waiting. But how does it work? Yeah, it's just like, I mean, there's not really anything too special to it. It's just instead of being owned in your Robinhood or your Webull or whatever it is, it's being owned at another brokerage. Matt, SESN, what's a good entry long term? I think you mean SENS, Patty, if I had to guess. SENS, I think you're talking about like the diabetic treatment monitoring company. I'm just going to go out on a limb there and think that, but I'll check out both. All right, hang on. AMC, we broke above yesterday's high. We hit 41.33. AMC having obviously a very, very notable day. We want the breakout of 41.85. That's a huge technical breakout, and I think there'll be a vacuum gap fill up to 44.20. But in the meantime, we're looking for the technical breakout of the intraday high, 41.33. All right, where are we at here? BBIG looking good. It's holding above 850. It broke above it, created it as support. Watch 9, key psychological level. But on BBIG, my more like the price level I'd be more interested in would be 950. How's Virgin Galactic looking? Weak. It is down 14.5%. Gap down. A gap below 21, which was support. If it cannot recapture 21, I am watching 18. Below 18, I would watch 1650. Below that, I would be watching 15. Those are the levels I have mapped out on Virgin Galactic. When it eventually starts to show demand and some buying and it's swinging around, yeah, then it becomes an interesting gap fill. But first, you need to see that demand. You need to see the swing back around. This stock is currently down for good reason. They pushed off their flights, their tourism flights. It's a fundamental development of why it's down. It does make logical sense. All right, so let's talk about... Oh, so maybe you were talking about SSSN. It's a penny stock, a biotech penny stock. I would never trade those personally. I don't think many people should. In case you were talking about SENS, I'll go over both. I like this company. True Demon gave me kind of the rundown, the DD on what is or isn't happening with this company, and I'm a fan of it. I think this is one that's being suppressed by basically like other big companies who don't want SENS Sensonic to be successful. I think it's being messed over, like screwed over, messed up. The price action is being messed up by bigger companies. So this one's interesting just because like you have to consider the power of these larger diabetic treatment and monitoring companies. So I'm a fan of it. I want it to be successful. It has cool technology. It's starting to bend back around. I would love for it to hold 340, and a breakout above 380 would be pretty interesting. CEI. So this is one that a lot of people talked about, and I think there were some social media accounts that were kind of pumping this stock. I just thought it was running with oil, which, just so you know, it did clip over $82 a barrel. Oil is just running. I didn't realize that there was a larger narrative under this story. If I'm being completely honest, I am very hesitant about CEI because I don't know who's right. You have one party that is arguing this price is being suppressed. The short report that came out against it was by Carousdale was like not appropriate, blah, blah, blah. It could squeeze with oil running itself. It's obviously in the world of oil and gas. But then the other party that's against CEI is saying that it's a completely fraudulent company. The CFO is a fake, blah, blah, blah. I don't know the truth, but I'm just saying it seems like both sides have a pretty interesting argument. And when I'm confused like that, when I can't make sense of a situation, I just don't trade it. So my biggest advice on CEI is look into the narrative, see which narrative you resonate with. And maybe based off of that, I would obviously use $1 as key support if I were in it. You don't want to get caught holding a bag, but just be careful with CEI. Be careful and take the time to dive into the DD, and don't just look for your confirmation bias. CEI, I think, is a story of people trying to just confirm their own bias. And hey, if it dropped because it deserved to be shorted, okay, that makes sense. But if it didn't deserve to be shorted and the short report was a complete lie, well, that's a completely different story. And that's why I'm just saying you gotta look into it. Keep network. Keep network. Just a huge runner. I don't know why, and I'm not just gonna. I think chasing a runner like that is a great way to become a bag holder. SLI, Standard Lithium. So this is probably similar to LAC. Seems like a lithium mining company or somehow related to lithium. Right now, there is a huge lack of lithium. The supply is low, but the demand is very, very high. So I'm bullish on the lithium sector in general. I don't know much about the fundamentals of this particular company, but if the fundamentals weren't completely horrific, I'd probably be bullish on this one. But I would want to dive into that a little bit. GOTU looking weak. Tried to bend back around and maybe set up a gap fill, but recently weak. If it cannot hold 340, look for the drop to 320 and then 275. Maybe could find support at one of those levels and bounce off of that. Nope. Sorry. I don't know what the ticker for 23andMe is. Hang on, let me find this. 23andMe stock. ME. Nice gap up and movement. I'm assuming there was some sort of news on it. Not that at least hit TradingView. It's about to have a technical breakout. It's at resistance. I very much hope it breaks out of 950. If it does, maybe watch 1040. But I like the gap up in the run. The risk is a bit wide, obviously. You have to, the risk being wide to the gap fill of 8 or just the recent relative low of 750, that means you just need to bet accordingly because that is a pretty considerable risk. So only bet money that you're willing to lose if it goes completely south on you. But it's trying to break out of this range. It's been in a range ever since the end of July. It's trying to get a range breakout on 23andMe. But first, look into the news of why it's gapping up. That would be step one before you bet any amount of money whatsoever. Thoughts on LAC? The same as SLI. It's in the lithium industry. I like LAC. Does Cash App do payment for order flow? I'm pretty sure that they do. Don't hold me to that, but I'm very I don't know how else they would do it if they don't do payment for order flow on Cash App. I'm not talking about a brokerage. The one I like right now is Public. It's in the description of the video. It's free to sign up. In fact, they pay you to sign up. You get up to $70 of free stock. They send your orders to a lit exchange. They don't have option trading. If you're an option trader, you probably want to look into Thinkorswim. But one of the main things I am currently fighting for. Hey, I just heard a ding. What dinged? I had another alert somewhere. I don't know. But Bitcoin, is it because it crossed under? The alert should have already gone, but hey, Bitcoin's looking so good right now. One of the main things I'm fighting for is we need more of the markets trades to be done on exchange. A lot of people are inappropriately looking at, I guess, off-exchange trading, and they think it's being done in dark pools. A high majority of off-exchange trading is being done by market makers. That needs to be very well known by the community. People see off-exchange trading and they're like, oh, that means dark pool. It means some dark pool, yes, of course, but most off-exchange trading, like if you were to look at all equities in general, most off-exchange trading is dominated directly by market makers, and those also, they're called internalizers, retail wholesalers, like whatever you want to call them, but it's market makers. It's Citadel Securities and it's Virtu. Hey Matt, I've been watching you religiously since January. I just want to thank you for all you do. I made 50K plus after the June run up. At 23, you've helped me change my life more than any teacher can. #AMC. Hey, it's those kind of comments of exactly why I do it. I know that at least in the US system, financial literacy is not the thing that they really care to teach about. So I figured, hey, at least I could teach everyone what I know. I'm on my own journey. I know I still have a lot to learn myself. I'm definitely would not consider myself an expert, but I at least consider myself a person who is willing to put in the time and basically outwork whoever I need to outwork to be a better streamer, be a better educator, be a better entertainer. And that's exactly why when it comes to this Ape Nation community, I mean, that's exactly why I've put in the most time. I mean, just look at the pure hours and hours of content. Why? I think we have a very legitimate argument. I think we are on the right side of history, and I think people need to learn about what we're talking about. And that's why I have let this clearly consume my life, but I'm happy. I wear it as a badge of honor because I think, like I said, I think we truly are on the right side of history here. Hey Merv, can I get a wrinkle brain to look at CCL bear flag on the daily, AMC to the moon? CCL bear flag on the daily. If you're looking at this large overall channel, like this upward channel, yeah, definitely. Let me try to tag this bottom line. If you're kind of roughly paying attention to this, I just kind of drew it. Actually, you might be looking at this one. It seems like it might be kind of a double bear flag situation. Yep. Bear flags, they do commonly break down, but you don't know how long it's going to build up. So you would actually want to be patient. And if you are trying to play that bear flag, you would want to look for the true trend line breakdown, because it could just keep bouncing off it for quite a while. Do you have German roots, Kohrs? I definitely do. Quite a bit of German. Thoughts on ATER? I'm currently holding bought at 13. Well, my first question to you is, what was your risk tolerance? What was your trading plan? What was the level that you're like, oh, if it goes below this, you need to cut your loss? I think a lot of people are scared about cutting a loss when they get an incorrect trade. But, and I'm right there with you. That's painful, but understand it could get worse. If if ATER breaks below 770, then I would be watching 6. But I can't tell you like where to cut or not because I don't know your risk. I don't know how much you bet. I don't know your risk tolerance. Like, that's different from person to person to person. And you have to bet accordingly based on where you're going to risk it. I don't know the size of your portfolio, your personality, your general risk tolerance, or really any of that. All I can say is like, hey, here are the levels of support and resistance I would personally look at. But you have to create your own trading plan based on what you perceive support and resistance and the size of your account, how actively you can watch the markets, your own personality. Are you a person who can mentally withstand big losses, or can you only take little losses? Do you like to actively trade? Do you only like to look at the charts once a month? It's just so different. Stuff that works for me isn't necessarily going to work for other people, and things that work for you might not necessarily work for me. You have to find a methodology that complements your personality and also your account size. Thoughts on MRK? So this one's doing well. We had this gap up because there was positive developments related to their oral pill related to like COVID and Rona. It got approved. And actually on the day this happened, you saw Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Moderna all fall because it was perceived to be a new legitimate competitor. And instead of people getting shots, all they had to do was take a pill. So right now it's obviously selling off. I would say that there's a gap fill opportunity at 76.65. I would be very interested if it fills this gap and then bounces off of it. That's the main level I would watch on MRK. But I do admit with the developments in their pill for Rona, that makes it a very interesting competitor in the world of Rona treatment and prevention. All right, I think I'm up to date there. Shout out. Shout out to everyone watching on Rumble. Shout out to everyone watching on Twitch. I appreciate all of you. And of course, shout out to everyone at the home base here on YouTube. Thank you. Hang on. Let's take a quick water break, folks. BTC breaking 60K. Yeah, that's crazy. Man. If you're trying to get in on the crypto game, I'm a fan of Voyager, Gemini, and Coinbase. Voyager is an app you download. You have to be in the US, and I don't think it works in the state of New York. You put in the code MAT21. It's in the description of the video. Pinned to the top of chat is Coinbase, and also one I have is Gemini. You could check it out. There's different ones for different areas. For example, Voyager, if you're in New York, you can't use Voyager, but you can use Coinbase, you can use Gemini. If you're in Hawaii, you can't use Coinbase, but Coinbase and Gemini also have international offerings. So that's why I like to talk about a couple different ones, because it's very dependent on where you are or aren't. I have viewership throughout the entire US and also viewership internationally, so I want to talk about them. Beyond that, those are the three I use, but other very popular ones, which unfortunately I don't have a bonus code for you to sign up because I don't have an account myself. Binance is very popular. KuCoin is very popular. Gate.io is kind of popular. Uphold is popular, especially if you want Ripple. What are some other ones? I'm just trying to name them off. Kraken is another popular one. So my point is that there's quite a handful of well-respected either Bitcoin exchanges and or brokerages, but the three I particularly run with are Coinbase, Gemini, and Voyager. But with that being said, a lot of people might be like, well, hang on. It says that I can get crypto on Robinhood or Webull. Well, first of all, you probably shouldn't be on Robinhood or Webull anyway, especially not on Robinhood, just because they're a piece of shit company. But with those, remember, you do not own the crypto. One of the biggest things in the world of crypto is when you're buying it, you actually want to legitimately own what you think you own. And when you're buying on Bitcoin, or when you're buying any crypto, not just Bitcoin, on Robinhood or Webull, you do not directly own it. To be fair, like I can't completely dunk on Robinhood. They do say that they're coming out with a crypto wallet, which should allow you to transfer it. But as of now, they don't. So one of the biggest problems with them is you can't send your crypto, you can't receive it, you don't have true ownership. You have a very weird IOU from the company that they're like, yeah, totally, like we'll get you this crypto. It can be problematic. If you can't transfer crypto in or out, like it's not a wallet. And I find that to be very, very problematic. So to anyone listening right now, I would highly advise that you look into it, because I do not think it's a good scenario to be buying crypto on Robinhood or Webull or any place that you don't truly own the coin and or token. Appreciate your honesty. Thank you, by the way. Check your batteries and your smoke detector. Let's go. I think that's what that was. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Have you seen the cycle theory vids, the guy who reads price targets based on algo trading and level 2 thoughts? I have not seen that. But cycles are one of the most well-known documented things in the stock market. There are various types of cycles. They happen a lot. Strong patterns based on various things. Cycles, I think it's interesting to me just because, like, so a lot of these cycles are well known. There's like various books written on them for now the past decades. Like a lot of people choose to engage with the market by utilizing cycles and those types of patterns. I think it's interesting that like people are now, for whatever reason in this community, acting like we just thought of cycles. No, we haven't. And in a way, I think that actually strengthens it, because like many stock market professionals have made billions of dollars off of trading cycles. I very much agree that there are cycles. You just need to identify that particular pattern and then use that and like to be more profitable. Robin the Hood has been promising wallets for years. Don't hold your breath, from your boy from Bulgaria. I mean, they straight up lied. Like, for anyone who's on Robinhood right now, you are okay. Yes, I am a very, very petty individual. If you use Robinhood, you are helping Robinhood become a more profitable company. That company is the exact same people who literally straight up lied to our face in January of this year. They went, every other day, they're like, liquidity problem, not a liquidity problem, liquidity problem. We're protecting you. No issue to be seen here. Huge issue to be seen here. All they did was bounce back and forth, and whatever happened, whatever went down between Citadel Securities and Robinhood, and I think one of these days the truth will come out, they cost the general retail trading public billions of dollars. This is not me being hyperbolic. This is very legitimately, if you look at the numbers, if you look at what probably would have happened, Robinhood being Robinhood and doing what they decided to do, and we're going to find out if there was interconnections with whoever, like a lot of people are saying, calling out Citadel Securities, it costs billions of dollars. If you, as Mark Cohodes would say, cost Joe Sixpack billions of dollars, why would I ever support them? They stole from you. They stole from me. They defrauded the entire retail trading public out of pure spite. Until, like, I will die on this, I will be a martyr on this hill. Why would I ever support them if they just robbed us? Hey, would you like me if I just came up and took $5 out of your wallet? Like, and then we're somehow still supporting a company that stole billions of dollars? If someone steals from you, that doesn't mean you like support them. Like, they're a thief. They're a piece of shit company who's lying to the public over and over again. And on top of that, if we really want to get into the fundamentals, like socially, I would never support them. Their business model is highly reliant on payment for order flow, which obviously people are campaigning to get rid of. So if they lose that, that's a big hit to their business model. And on top of that, a main revenue driver for them is Dogecoin trading, which the volume of Dogecoin trading has severely dropped off. Fundamentally, I don't see how it's a good business model. If we want to get into the world of fundamentals, like that's one that I would long-term be a bear against. Like Robinhood, socially, business-wise, when you wrap all that together, Robinhood, bearish. I don't see any reason to use it. Public also covers any transfer fees you may incur when transferring out from other brokers in case you are still on the fence about transferring. you, sir, for all you do. Great advice in June. All the knowledge and education information I get from here has helped me pay my mom's surgery and paid all my loans. Life-changing, sir. FAMI thoughts. Shout out. That's a great story. Congratulations to you, and I appreciate that you were helping out your mom. That's very generous. FAMI, it's a penny stock. I don't like penny stocks. Even if it weren't a penny stock, this is just currently range bound. You either need a breakdown above 33 or a breakout above 37. Like, you just got to wait. It's super frustrating watching AMC fly to get just walked back down. It's frustrating, but the trend is upward. So like, I'm very happy with the trend. What I don't get is, and I think it's a bit, I don't know, like, it's a weak argument. It's a lazy argument. It's an intellectually lazy argument. As soon as people see a red bar, does anyone else out there get tired of, like, you see a red bar and then everyone's just like, short ladder attack, short ladder? Like, is anyone just tired of that and maybe questioning of like, well, hang on, maybe it's not that? I think it's just, it's a lazy argument, and I think people maybe potentially find comfort in, like, they try to explain everything, and of course they try to I guess put like a nefarious spin on it of like, okay, this is not where I want the price to be and I need to call something out. It's just like, so many people on social media, I see this short ladder attack thing and I'm just like, where are you getting it from? Do I know what a short ladder attack is? Yes, I very much do. Do I think that it has occurred in the market? Yes, also. Do I think it's severely overstated of how common and how useful they are? Yeah, also yes. I know what they are. I think that they happen, but I think they happen to far less of a degree than social media would have you believe. Far less of a degree. And it's just, hey, sometimes you have like this concept of no one selling. Well, yeah, in AMC, someone bought 15.5 million shares today and someone sold 15.5 million shares today. So to say that no one's selling this thing, I get it. It's a nice sound bit. No one's selling this thing. And I get it. It's in reference to just apes aren't selling. I get the overall message. I'm totally there. I get it. Like, apes aren't selling. Apes aren't panicking. But some of the times when you're talking about the stock market, you have to be that, you know, that nerdy kid that sometimes you were just like ripping a hilarious joke that made all the girls in high school laugh, and you're just ripping. And it's funny. And then you have that nerd that steps in. Wait, where are my glasses? I need to do my nerd voice. All right. Well, I can't find my glasses. But anyway, sometimes, remember in high school, you'd be ripping, making all the biddies in high school laugh. And that nerd would come in and he's like, well, technically that's not right. And it's like, dude, it was like for the point of the joke. Like, sometimes you're just like bending it. Like, yeah, sometimes like you don't have to be technically right. I get it. But sometimes when you're talking about the stock market, you gotta be that nerd who is technically right and knows exactly what's going on. So it's one of those things that I get the sentiment behind no one selling this thing. It's in reference to apes aren't selling. Apes are very happy with what's going on. But when you go into the technical thing, yeah, someone out there is obviously selling. That's what trading volume is. When you see trading volume, that means that someone bought and also simultaneously someone sold. So sometimes when it comes to your money and the mathematical world of the stock market, it can be beneficial to you to be that nerd, that one who's like, pushes the glasses up and it's like, well, technically this is actually right. Sometimes you got to be that person who's like, okay, what's the true reality opposed to a really good soundbite? Not liking the IWM coming down, but hey, AMC not really caring, which is, I find interesting. What upsets me the most is stock becomes a squeeze anytime it goes up. Now I'm like, hey, maybe, or it could be good news or a normal event. Keep up the great work, Matt. Love catching the stream. Yeah, I mean, when it squeezes, the world's gonna know. Like, none of this, like, these are price fluctuations. It's the equilibrium between buying aggression and selling aggression. Equilibrium The price is the equilibrium of supply and demand. That's what AMC is trading at. AMC is trading at 40.78 because right now that's what the high majority of stock market participants agree it should be at. Price is the equilibrium between supply and demand. Yes, we can get into the argument of is supply being bloated? Is demand being hidden? Like, okay, that's a different argument. But right now, with the supply and demand we know about, the price is the equilibrium. AMC is trading at 40.86. There's no secret price. People like to tell you about like second books and some like Illuminati second price. That's not true. There's nothing. You can't disprove something that people say no one else knows about. Like if I were to say there was a gigantic invisible duck looking over our entire world, well, how do you disprove something like that when like there's just no evidence of it? Like we, at a certain point, coming back to like my nerd metaphor, is like sometimes we have to literally use that scientific process of you have a hypothesis, it has to be testable, you test it, and then you go from there. There's a lot of people who are just like throwing out just random things of like giant duck in the sky watching over us. That's why the stock has not squeezed. It's like, well, okay, that sounds fun, but how can we test that? How can we dive into it as a community and try to like really learn from it? You need to fire the guy in charge of your props. I need to fire myself. Speaking of jokes, I got married last Saturday and wrote Mormons love condos in my vows. Thanks for all you do. I'll never understand why shorts attack ladders. Once they beat them up, how will they change their light bulbs? Make it a great day. Shout out $. How do you feel about Robinhood? Serious question. How do you feel about Robinhood? Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Here's some more money, Kohrs. Get it trending. Shout out, Jeffrey. Shout out. Happy, I'm late. Thoughts on Rule 713. Happy. Oh, isn't 713 the market, the New York Stock Exchange shutting down a stock trading thing? Right? That's what 713 is, Jennifer. That was commentary by the New York Stock Exchange president saying that like if something crazy is happening, a runner may not run. Hang on. This is 713 is related to baseball called blocking the plate. A runner may not run out of a direct line to the plate in order to initiate contact with the catcher. So yeah, Rule 713, it's the Buster Posey rule. A runner may not run out of the direct line of the plate in order to initiate contact with the catcher. I'm a fan of that. I'm tired of catchers getting hurt. Like, why would we let the runners deviate from their line to potentially intentionally hurt the catcher? Blows my mind. I think it's a good rule. Who buys when we sell on the MOAS? Also on Public, I bought some crypto this morning. What are your thoughts on their crypto? So Public just rolled out their crypto. I don't think I can comment on it. I don't know if they are functioning as a wallet or not. If Public isn't functioning as a wallet, I would not use that for crypto. I like Public for stocks. It doesn't have options. But if it's not a wallet, I'm not going to use it for crypto. Who buys when we sell in the MOAS? The shorts. Shorts have to buy to cover their position. Shorts are buying, apes are selling as the squeeze goes to kingdom come. My normal audience was confused by my comedy horror short ladder attack skit. Shout out Steampunk. Send that to me on TikTok. I'll check it out. Good morning. Where does the nerd get his water mat? From a well, technically. Love you all. Have the best day. Shout out Kinky Kong. Hate us getting lumped in with conspiracy theorists. Yeah, and that's why exactly people like Charlie Gasparino can get away with it, is because there is some faction of the ape community that goes too far into these conspiracies, like, and even when they're disproven, which is so frustrating. I think we need to attack it more like really just the basis of the scientific method, opposed to just like people incessantly saying something when there's no evidence or it can't be tested, and then a little bit of that, even one ape doing that, then gives people like Gasparino the opportunity to go on mainstream media and like compare us to some of the most like egregious conspiracy groups out there. I can't speak for all apes, but what a lot of the apes are saying is not conspiracy. There is strong, at this point, secondary evidence something went down that was complete bullshit in January. That should not happen. I don't want to give away too much, but a lot of this is what we talked about in my interview with Mark Kohrs. That is coming out tomorrow. I highly recommend. It's about an hour long, so if you guys can, I don't know, listen to it on double speed, so cut out a half hour of your time tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, something like that. It's a great interview, but we dove into that. We dove into our theories on what possibly could have happened between the SEC, Robinhood, Citadel Securities, all of that stuff. It truly is crazy. And just one thing that I'll let you know, like a little bit of a sneak peek, he has been actively trading from the mid 70s until now, and not once has he ever seen a singular brokerage PCO a stock. If you can't buy it, like he's never seen a one-way thing. If you can't buy it, it typically means you also can't sell it, as in no one's trading it. He's never seen that some brokerages decided to stop the buy side and allow the sell side, while other brokerages allow you to buy and sell. It was a complete mess of a situation. And the fact that multiple decades of trading, and this is the one time he's seen it, that needs to tell you something. And I looked into it. Just historically, I found no evidence of that ever happening before in the stock market, and I don't think it has ever happened before in the stock market. So that's when we talk about AMC and GME being a very, very true black swan event. Yeah, the play out in January of this PCOing on some brokerages, like, it's insane. It hasn't happened before. And the government has done its best job to sweep it under the rug as quickly as it could. And I think they're betting on us just going quiet and forgetting about it. But I don't know about you. I think it's with the connection of media and how interwoven our digital community is, I don't think we're forgetting about it. I think they're banking on us forgetting about it. But even, does anyone else find it absurd that we still don't have this GME report? What? How? We were supposed to have this how long ago, and we still don't have it. And then like there's the rumors actually started by Gasparino himself that the reason it hasn't been released is because there's infighting within the SEC about the conclusion of the report. That is bonkers. That is absurdly bonkers. All right, I see a lot of people saying that the FTD report is out. Let's check it out. So as of September 29th, there was 150,000 on AMC. Not many. And 10,000 on GME. So neither AMC nor GME have high FTDs. I think this is a good thing to talk about. So we know if you go to a brokerage, let me paint a scenario for you. If you go to a brokerage as a hedge fund, you're like, yo, prime broker, prime broker Pete. This is hedge fund. This is hedge fund, whatever. Hedge fund hedgy, talking to prime broker Pete. He says, yo, I want to short this stock. And the hedge fund's like, the prime broker who wants the hedge fund's business is like, okay, let's do it. And they let him go short. Prime broker never finds the shares to locate. That's a naked short. That's illegal. It happens. But right now, that would show up as an FTD. If you're taking the most basic form of naked shorting of someone going short without locating shares, I'm not talking about market makers. That's a completely different like can of worms. I'm talking about hedge funds or just people interacting with a broker. That's illegal, and that's the most basic form of naked shorting, and that is a type of FTD. I understand how a lot of you are saying, well, hang on. how is it possible that the ape community is like yelling from mountaintops, naked shorts, naked shorts, naked shorts, when it should be coming up in these FTDs? That doesn't seem many. 150,000 GME coming in at 10,000. That doesn't make sense. And I'm right there with you. And I've been thinking about this a lot. How, with all these FTDs that should be representing naked shorts, remember, all naked shorts are a type of FTD, but not all FTDs are naked shorts. But regardless, if the number of FTDs is not a huge magnitude, well, that means that the most basic form of naked shorting is right there. Like, they're not being, like, that would show up in the FTD. And then yet you have all these people who like are gonna lead you to believe that there's millions and if not billions of naked shorts. And that is, it's in very reasonable disconnection for you to have in your mind. It's a disconnection I have in my mind. How can we live in a world when everyone's complaining about all these huge amounts of naked shorts, but then we don't have these FTDs? Like, we know at a minimum it should be showing up there. And the reason for that is because it's not that straightforward. It's not them just saying, okay, a broker allowing them to like just go short, they don't locate it, that would show up. We would have those numbers. It's much, much more intricate, and I probably should make an entire standalone video, but I don't need to because I expressed it. We fully discussed it in the interview with Mark Cahotis of how the broker, it's not an FTD technically. It's more of a super unethical naked short because they're saying we do have exposure. So what they'll do, and I don't want to give away too much, is the hedge fund calls up, they say we need to go short, and then the broker's like, oh, okay, that means we need a net long position so we could lend it out to you. And then they do this through the options market. So that's why it doesn't show up as an FTD, because technically they had it within the they're like, oh no, we had that exposure, which means we were allowed to like loan them out. And that gets really weird because that means they didn't actually have the very specific shares. It's not like share from person A goes to B and we're going to loan it out. They're like, no, we were just net long, which they did through the options market, and then they were able to loan against it. So it's a much more of an intricate argument, and it's the very basic and obviously illegal form of naked shorting, of like just going short and them never locating it. That would show up in the FTDs. It would. We would have that, and we're not seeing a spike in FTDs. So you take it to the next level of how they could possibly pull it off. And I think the answer to it, I strongly believe the answer to it is within the options market. No, Matthew, the CEO being able to stop the sell of stock, baseball. So isn't it 7? I thought it was a different rule number. I am okay with stocks being halted if it's halted everywhere. And not just in one direction. If you can't buy it, you shouldn't be able to sell it. And if it's halted on one brokerage, I think it should be halted on all brokerages. There are very legitimate reasons to halt a stock. I'm not here saying we should just stop all halts. That doesn't really make sense to me. Like I said, there are good reasons at certain moments in time to do a proper halt. My issue is halting it in a one-sided manner. I don't think position close only should be a thing on a stock. And if it's stopped on one brokerage, I think it should be stopped on all brokerages. That was like just one of the craziest things. I don't know the finer details of what the New York Stock Exchange president said, but that's my overall thoughts. You can't do it one-sided. If you stop the buying, you also have to stop the selling, and you have to stop it on all brokerages that have access to that equity. What sell order type will most likely get the best fill in a short squeeze scenario? A limit. You would be getting your exact value, as in it's going to fill you at that. Like, let's say if you're selling at X, like a limit of X, it either is going to get you X or something better than X, but not below it. If the New York Stock Exchange can halt for 2 days at a time and MOAS ensues, could you see them halting 2 days, resuming, then halting again for 2 days repeatedly. You can actually halt for longer than that. I don't know necessarily where you're getting the 2 days, but like I'm saying, is I think it should be halted. If it's halted, it should be halted everywhere simultaneously. For example, the week after 9/11, the entire market was halted, like the entire market for an entire week. That's what I'm saying is like this type of stuff has occurred in the past in terms of like these halts. And so if like, I don't know, I guess the exact about the New York Stock Exchange, but if the New York Stock Exchange halts it, if it's just that exchange, well, you could still trade on the NASDAQ. You could still trade with market makers. You could still trade on dark pools. You could still trade on at IEX. You can still trade at Amex. Like, I guess I need to dive into it, but you would have access to other venues. The New York Stock Exchange is one venue. My opinion is if it's stopped on one venue, stop it everywhere. Stop it for either everyone can play or no one can play at all. My issue is when some people are playing and other people can't play. Either we all play or no one plays. It's either a full green light or full red light. None of this in between stuff. Not to go off the rails, but can you get the hoaxer give Kenny a birthday announcement? Also, shout out to my wife's small business, Etsy, SOL Path Crystals. Shout out Normie Pants. Matt, wish me luck. Ford is 1 cent away from my YOLO options. If I hold 16 over 90K open interest for the 16 price, check out Ford. Please look up ATR FTD, but it's not on the FTD list anymore. With the price action lately, it doesn't seem like they solved it. I've never seen a connection in between price action and solving FTDs myself. Like, I don't know of any correlation there. Ford is looking very good on an intraday basis, looking very good on a daily basis. Let this winter ride. Maybe you could get 1650, the high from June 4th. It sounds like you've been in it for a bit. Let your winners ride. This is looking very, very good. Obviously, I wouldn't chase it, but man, what a trade. Congrats. Looking good, good, good. Ford has really been able to turn things around ever since they basically said they're going to start competing in the domain of EVs. For the decade before that, the stock was going down, down, down. But now that they're getting into the world of EVs, it's obviously been turning the stock around. But anyway, ATER. Let me look up the FTDs on it. ATER. Show advanced and failure to deliver. Quite a few. 1.5 million. Yeah, but remember, you're saying that it's off the list, but we only have data up till the 27th. As soon as it goes below those requirements for 5 days in a rule, like we're talking about October 15th. So there's a world in which we see those numbers from September, but it already took care of it and now it's no longer on the list. Like that could still work. All right, AMC hanging out at 41.77. This is nice. Look at this V-shaped recovery on IWM. They always do this on the market. This has been the pattern for probably the past, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks. Is this, they do this V-shaped recovery thing on the major indexes, which I don't know. I just find it to be so interesting of why. What size shirt do you wear? A medium. Super, super average. Average, right in the middle. All right, what else do we have going on? We have this, 23andMe. All right, is there any other, let me see if there's any breaking news. Let's quickly check in on crypto. Bitcoin still hanging out at 50,000, Ethereum hanging out 3,800. Crypto's looking good. SHIB is looking a bit weak. Look for it to hold 24. If it doesn't, then you're paying attention to 20. Matic holding this breakout. Matic getting rejected at $1.64. The support from back in early September. Would love for this to push up to $1.80. Cardano, flat, boring, not moving really right now. Doge kind of doing its own thing at 23 cents. Hex, unfortunately, having a breakdown. I'm definitely looking for this to hold 33 cents. PROG 211, SDC 580, ANY 820. All right. Just doing a kind of quick check on everything. Let's check out Tiblio. But first, let's see if AMC is actually about to rip before I check out Tiblio. This could get interesting. Come on. 41.33, just a little intraday target, but really paying attention to, man, that alert is getting annoying. I thought it should be gone. Yes. Yes. Okay. I think we should be good. AMC, we're looking on an intraday basis, so not the most important, but important enough. 41.33, that would be a new intraday high, but what we really care about is this high from September 23rd, September 30th, 41.85-ish, just south of 42. From there, nice gap fill opportunity to 44.20. All right. Russell coming back. SPY coming back. I like it. I like it. I like it. Bitcoin would love for that to hold 60,000. Just so you know, if you are a Bitcoin person, the high is just below 65,000. That's the all-time high for Bitcoin. And this thing is looking strong. Oh, man. So much opportunity in the market right now. Lots of stocks, AMC, GME, opportunity there. The overall ETFs, IWM, SPY, Qs, opportunity there. Tons of opportunity in crypto. Just green, green, green. So much money-making opportunity. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. This is a very good question. You probably covered this. Is entering an option play and selling it the same day considered a day trade? Yes, it is. All right. AMC, I like this. Slow but sure. We are getting into a little bit of what's the volume? Man, GME, this is one of the lowest volume days we've seen in a while. The volume is 335,000. Very, very much wish that there was more volume, more volatility in GME. Maybe we need a breakout of like whatever, 190, 200 for people to get reinvigorated. But GME definitely needs some volume. AMC, its volume, it's okay. It's 19 mil. It does seem like we'll exceed the 10-day average, but I think as you see that breakout of 41.85 for the gap fill, I think we'll see a volume spike there. All right. Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, any breaking news? Let me check out just if you guys need to know anything. Oh. What do we have? What do we have? Nothing too crazy here. I guess oil is still continuing to go up. Let me see, zero hedge. Yes, oil still absolutely crazy right now. Anything else going on? AMC still looking good. Wow. Yeah, the overall world news that I'm seeing, it's just much more related to the insanity in oil, which you could check on the futures market. You would want to look at the front month. Oil, 82.25 a barrel. Look at this run in oil. Ever since OPEC and its allies were like, you know what? We're going to keep supply low as demand grows and grows and grows. And look at, they are sending oil sky high. Putin himself said there's a chance that oil goes over $100 a barrel. All right, what else do we have? What else do we have? All right, AMC hanging out right at 41. Then we're paying attention to 41.85. That's the magic numby. That's the magic numby. Here we go, AMC. Look at this. Look at this. BTC looking good right there. Let's go to Solana. Solana coming back, having its own technical breakout. Would love to see a lot Solana above 168. ETH pushing, knocking. How is Matic holding up on the day? Matic not above $1.50 anymore, just below. All right, what questions do we have? Let's crush it. Do you have merchandise? I'd love to support you. There is a Moon Gang merch store if you want this. I'm actually wearing like a Moon Gang shirt. There's some fun stuff, but I appreciate that. Honestly, just your good vibes is enough support. Considering making a big play, thoughts on MVIS movement in the short term now to 6 weeks roughly. Miss your advice if you have it. MVIS. MVIS looks pretty weak to me. I just don't see any buyers. In fact, I'm seeing a technical breakdown. So I don't know, maybe about the next 6 weeks, but maybe it seems a bit bearish to me. I just don't see buyers on it. Just saw a short beating the hell out of a ladder in front of a dark house. New hypothesis is that they're attacking the ladders because they are not tall enough to reach the light bulbs. Shout out Dollar Chief. Is this fraud? TD Ameritrade controversy on Twitter with failed transfers. Now I see cost per share is showing higher from confirmed filled price. Sent pics message on Twitter. No, your cost per share, it doesn't matter. If TD tells you you got AMC at $1 bazillion or $0, it doesn't matter. Do you care what they tell you? That's just a transfer issue. What you care about is the money you actually spent. Like, you already own that asset. You already spent the money on it. Now you're just transferring like where it's currently being stored. And that's why they let you edit it, but that's in no way fraud. I get this question a lot when people are transferring, but why does it matter? If you bought AMC at $10 and the next brokerage told you got it at 41, doesn't matter to you. You already know you spent 10. It's not like they went into your bank account and took an extra $30 out. It's just a transfer issue, but also you can easily fix it. That's why they let you edit it, or sometimes it takes a week or two, but then they update it to the right price anyway when they get the blue sheet reports from your original brokerage. It's not a tax issue because the taxes, they still know where you got in and out. This is literally like a UI UX issue. It's not like your second brokerage is reporting your entry point. They back check it basically with your blue sheets and see your trades and see when you got in or out. It's like I said, it's a user interface, a user experience issue, and that's why they allow you to edit it. All right. AMC looking good. IWM, beautiful V shape. Let's check out. MVIS looks weak to me right now. I just don't see buyers. SPY, double gap up. One of these days, the gap's below it. And like, mark my words on this. I'm not calling for it tomorrow. Maybe it takes a day. Maybe it takes a week. Maybe it takes a month. Maybe it takes even longer. Both the gaps below SPY will get filled, which is a money-making opportunity. You just have to wait for weakness to be shown, and then you could play one or both of those gap fills. Shout out, shout out, shout out. AMC, I like it. Slow, steady grind. Can you give thoughts on CEI? Yeah, CEI is one I am personally avoiding. It was recently a penny stock. It seems like it's a battle between social media promoters and like short sellers like Carousel. That's not a battle I want to be in between. I don't know who's on the right side of truth. I don't know who's lying. Someone's lying. One of them is lying. I don't know if it's the short. The short might be right. The social media people might be right. CEI to me is one that if I don't know the situation, I don't know who's right in it. I'm just avoiding it. From a technical perspective, you very much want it to hold above 84 cents, 88 cents. You want it to hold above that. It gets bullish from a technical perspective above 240. But like I said, I'm personally just avoiding it. If you like oil, there's other oil plays. Like if you're just trying to go long on oil, you could check out USO. You could check out Gush. There's various oil things you could do for oil. CEI, it seems it's a battle outside of technicals, so I'm just not messing with it. I see a lot of people talking about Neo. Hey, Neo's looking good. Trying to get this breakout above 38. If it does, look for the gap fill up to 40.60. Nice gap fill opportunity on Neo if you get the breakout, but just be wary. There is a gap below it to 36.50 and a gap to 34. But if you get this breakout, it might fill the top side gap first. Neo. Sweet. What are your new hours? So there's a morning session from 9 to 11, and everything else is in currently a state of flux. What I'm attempting to do, and I've ordered some pieces of hardware to make this possible. They should be coming actually today, but probably by this weekend at the latest. My current direction with Matt Kohrs and the Moon Gang community is basically to make these live streams as good as I possibly can, more of a higher produced show. So that's my goal. When I get the 9 to 11 show how I want it, there is a chance for me to add back in that second show, but I need to be laser focused on just getting the hardware, the cameras, the lights, the studio set up. And once I get it to where I want it, then I could think about adding in a second show. When I was talking with my Discord yesterday, they brought in a very, very valid point of my current show. It kind of cut off my entire West Coast US audience, just because 9 to 11 is 6 to 8. That's very, very early for people on the West Coast. So there's a high demand for a power hour show, a very high demand. And I hear you, and I'm doing my best to make it work. I just need to, right here, I feel very, very fortunate to be at the size of financial live streaming that I am. And for me to get even bigger, I need to produce better content. So for me, I'm taking money I've made off YouTube, investing it right back into this to do everything I need to do. And once I'm happy with the studio, the layout, the flow of the show, that's when I'm going to go back to considering a second show later in the day, just so all my West Coast fans don't feel left out. Really rough for the West Coasters. I appreciate it. And no, I hear you. I definitely hear you. And I'm working as efficiently and as expediently as I can to get it back up there. All my CEI, ATR, BBIG gains going right back into AMC and GME. Been able to add 4x to my AMC share. Shout out Matt's Duck Suspenders. How much is your OnlyFans? $420.69 a day. ASTR contract for U.S. Space Force launch window set for 10/27. Interesting. Got back into Workhorse. Can you give me your opinion? I think it may have bottomed. What do you think? Should I risk? I'm thinking 630-ish. So I'm in Workhorse for the long-term play. 6 would be my risk. This recent relative low would be my risk if I just got in. I got in quite a bit earlier. I'm just swinging this one for probably years at this point. But I'm in Workhorse in my long-term account. But I think 6 is a very reasonable risk. All right. Well, folks, things are looking good. AMC's trading just below 41. We saw this V shape. Hopefully it bounces and comes off of that. SPY looking good. GME 180. I mean, lots of the markets are in the green. Crypto's in the green. Our favorite moon stocks are in the green. What a day. That is it for the morning show. I appreciate everything. I appreciate the support. What another week. We're halfway through the month of October. Let's hope that the second half of October is absolutely like lights out excitement. As always, your support, I cannot articulate what it possibly means to me. Another fun-filled week with all of you apes. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who dropped a like, to everyone who subscribed, to everyone who super chatted, signed it up for the Discord, for the affiliate links, for just generally having a good vibe coming in here and hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I truly, truly do. Thank you so, so much. Just so you know, I will be posting an update video tonight. The interview, an hour-long interview with Mark Kohrs, which some very interesting things were shared and brought up and discussed. That comes out tomorrow on the main Matt Kohrs channel. So be on the lookout for that. And who knows, maybe this weekend, if I get some time, I'll do like a crypto stream or something just when the stock market's closed. But be on the lookout for the update video today, the market wrap-up video, and then following that, the interview will be posted tomorrow. I just need to finish it in post-production. Thank you so much for everything. And as always, from me and Chair, best of luck in the markets.